progresses into being a professional.
Yeah, I totally agree because, I mean, and like I said before, I have no doubt in my mind that Marcus Smart will learn from this and be a better professional for it. I just hope that that guy Jeff Orr really has learned something and he can be a better human being, you know. But yeah, that's I feel like more to ask than actually the athlete being mature is the super fan being mature. Because I mean, if you're that old and you're acting like that and you don't know any better, that means you've been allowed to act like that for about 20, 30 years. You know? Like, I'm sure he's done that at Texas Tech games without any media attention, and I'm sure that people have not said anything to him, which is why it led to this, you know?
Yeah, and I think, super fans all over the place, hecklers all over the place can also learn from something like this. Of course, we don't know exactly what was said.
Exactly. Well, and we might never know.
And we probably won't, but there are two main things that I really think you have to steer clear from in that role as the super fan of the heckler, and that's race.
Yes. Yes.
And it's sexuality. I don't think you touch. I don't think you touch
exactly. And you know what? We're gonna take a break, but that's a very, very good, like, nice little bow on the ribbon there to our conversation. Because on the other side of the break, we're coming back with another one of those topics that took me away from talking about Olympics and whatnot, because it deals with a Missouri player coming out before the NFL draft. So we're gonna take a break, and on the other side of the break, we'll have that topic conversation here in the basement with Sean and the heckler, a super fan, but a controlled super fan indeed. All right, see you later. All right, hold on. Let me.
Some technical difficulties.
Yeah, let me find first break radioactive. Here, let's see. Where are we? It's funky. What's this one? Liquor. Chicken ears. Oh my god. Radioactive blood. There
we go. Whoa, there's another computer in here?
I didn't know that either.
Whoa. There's no way that's been there. That has to be new. I would have noticed the computer screen up there.
You know, it might be new. I don't even...
Or maybe they, like, just turned it on, and I haven't noticed that it's sitting there because it's been off. I don't know. But now I can't stop staring because it's doing that whole star thing, and it's like you're flying through the galaxy. I don't want to look away. I might miss
I don't want to look away. I might miss something.
There's probably, I don't know, it looks like there's something coming up, but it could be endless. I don't know. Alright, I'm looking away. Crazy stuff.
Alright, so...
Crazy.
I'm going to move that up here. Food and liquor. Okay. Move that down here, bad boy.
Alright, you do Michael Sam for as long as you would like. I'm going to take another break, play another bumper. And we'll do some... do a crap ton of NBA.
I think I'm going to basically talk about Michael Sam and then do a little tie-in with the fucking Sochi kind of like thing, like the reaction from other countries to, you know what I mean?
Reaction of other countries to what?
To their policies, to the Russia's policies. Because have you seen the two anti-Russian, anti-gay policy videos that came out from Canada and Norway?
Yeah, did you know, like, half the Olympic athletes were planning on boycotting because, like, half of them are gay?
No.
Yeah, this has been an issue since the day they named Russia the host country. That they were so anti-gay that most of the athletes didn't even want to participate.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not just two...
No. I know it's not two anti-videos, but I mean, I just think it's funny, the two videos that they came out.
Yeah, of course.
It's pretty hilarious. Anyway.
Yeah, you can tie that in. That's fine by me. I got nothing to say. I think it's all just total.
And who knows?
BS.
I might not even say anything. It just, the Michael Sam thing is probably good enough on its own at this point. Just because that's ridiculous.
Like I said, I don't have much to say about that either. Good for the kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally good for the kid. I'm just kind of dismayed on the quotes by the... You know what? Actually, my friend, who doesn't even follow sports, said, it's such a gut check on the realities of prejudice to think that racism was so far away, but really not when the same thing is going on, only the bigger focus is not on black and white, but gay or straight. Because she said she just saw 42, yep. And she was like, it's kind of like that. Or the ideas seem the same, and I'm like, yeah, basically. I mean, it is this day and age's, segregation.
Sure is.
Anyway. I can't wait for baseball to start, so we have a lot of more positive things to talk about. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
All right, you ready to go?
Yeah. Hey, welcome back from that break. And if you are listening to us on SoundCloud, you did hear a familiar voice. It was, like I said, the voice of Mick Mucus. And, well, I think you're going to be hearing a little bit more of Mick Mucus sooner than later. But anyway, second topic, I wanted to talk a little bit, or we wanted to talk, I guess just me, I guess. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Michael Sam story. And if you don't know who Michael Sam is the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. He stands, I want to say, 6'2", 260, and he plays defensive end for the Missouri Tigers. He had 19 tackles for loss and 11.5 sacks in the SEC. He was projected to be anywhere between a 3rd round and a 7th round draft pick. And he's what you would call one of those solid team guys. High motor, solid teammate, probably learns very quickly. I saw a lot of him watching college football over the Saturdays, and he's basically one of those glue guys. Like, he doesn't really crack. No matter what the score is, he plays like it's 0-0, and every play means something. And that's what you want on your team, especially maybe coming off of the bench or on special teams, things like that. But that's not why the story is such. He came out that he's gay. It's like a month and a half before the draft, right? Right now? April something?
Yeah, the combine is a few weeks away.
Okay. And so the big thing in the sports and gay, lesbian community discussion is always, is the world of sports ready for a openly gay or lesbian athlete that's currently active in the sport? Not retired, not a little bit, as the NBA scouts have been quoted saying, a little bit older, like is it Jason Collins?
Yeah.
Like in Jason Collins, who still hasn't signed with a team yet, as no team has offered him a contract, I think. But they're saying right now that his draft status has been drastically hurt by the announcement. Mind you, he hasn't hurt himself physically. He hasn't, lost any, talents in, lifting weights or running the 40 or in the vertical leap or anything like that, or the IQ test that they have there. He just announced that he was openly gay. Now, I have 4 quotes. I posted this on my Facebook because I just think it's appalling anyway in this day and age. But especially in the NFL, I mean, you got to know the mentality is different than in like regular society, because the NFL locker room and the culture is so different. As we all found out by the Miami Dolphins, Richie Incognito, Jonathan Martin, it was something, it really wasn't anything. And then you saw the tweets and you're like, man, these guys are like barbarians, sexist barbarians. Anyway, the 4 quotes though I got from this article, which lead me to believe that either Michael Sam is going to be a 7th round pick or an undrafted free agent that gets invited to a team or to training camp, if he gets even invited at all. The 4 quotes is, one quote is, they're talking about in the later rounds, there's usually like 5 or 6 guys that are the same caliber, and they have to decide as the picks get closer to them. And one of the former GMs says, that will break a tie against that player every time, unless he's Superman. Why? Not that they're against gay people. It's more that some players are going to look at you upside down. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the media is going to show up, from Good Housekeeping to the Today Show. A general manager is going to ask, why are we going to do that to ourselves? Next quote is, you're going to have one confident general manager or head coach that is certainly entrenched in his position and established to draft a player like that, a former assistant personnel director said. It's one thing to have Chris Cluey or Brendan Jan Badejo, Did I do that even justice?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who that is.
And those two guys are former NFL players or current NFL players. They're advocates for the gay and lesbian community. Advocate for gay rights on your team. It's another type of current confirmed player. Another one says, you shouldn't have to live your life in secrecy, the assistant coach said, but do you really want to be the top of the conversation for everything without ever having played it down in this league? And then the last one, something about the locker room culture. I don't really want to read that. Just because I'm probably going to get more angry about reading it than anything else. But that just goes to show me that I know people are very hopeful that because Michael Sam is such an athlete and such a good player, that he's going to get drafted because, above all, the NFL is about, talent and winning. Well, no, that's not true. I'm going to go on record as saying I don't think he gets drafted. And if he does get drafted, it's going to be one of those 7th-round draft picks by a team like the Patriots or like the Ravens or like the Niners or like the Seahawks or something where they have pretty much a family-oriented system from the top all the way down. Or a philosophy, you know what I mean? But I feel like in this day and age, why is this even a topic? And I guess that kind of leads me why I want to bring this up is because I have a friend on Facebook who doesn't really watch sports at all. And she just watched 42, the Jackie Robinson movie. And she says that it seems to her like it's the same kind of idea. It says, it's such a gut check on the realities of prejudice to think that racism was so far away, but really not when the same thing is going on, only the bigger focus is not on black and white, but gay or straight. And, I feel like maybe that's why it's such a topic of conversation is because this really is our new, almost a segregation type of thing in society is, gay, straight, instead of more black and white as it was. Racism is still heated and alive and well, just based on our last topic of Marcus Smart and the Texas Tech fan. But I feel like lately, given the Olympics and all the state voting and things like that, that this topic has come to the forefront in the last 5 to 10 years. I don't know. That was just an angry rant on my part. I don't even know how to fix it because if the NFL culture is not ready for bullying to go away, then it's nowhere near ready to even accept an openly gay athlete in their locker room. That's just my opinion.
I think he gets drafted. You
think so?
He was co-defensive player of the year in the SEC. The SEC is known for defense.
I know.
Guys looked at as a 3rd or 4th round pick. This has no bearing.
Me personally, I think he should go in the 3rd or 4th round because he can play standing up or he can play as a 3-point or 4-point guy, and he's super quick and the leverage he has on those linemen. But anyway,
he's a good football player.
No, agreed. I
baller.
Totally agree. He's a baller.
Play. And from the interviews he's done that I've seen, he seems like the right guy to do this. He seems like a good kid. Like it's not like he's just coming out to say this to boost his draft stock or anything like that. He's not that kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
He's doing this as this is monumental.
I totally agree. This is monumental. Like
I commend this guy. I commend Marcus Smart for standing up and saying he was wrong. But this is a whole other thing. This kid should be. There should be trumpets playing every time he walks in a room for what he's doing. He is an openly gay football player wanting to play in the NFL.
Yeah, and
he has his entire career ahead of him, and he just brought the whole world down on him, and he seems like the kind of kid who can stand up and take it.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you, Sean, because if you read deeper into the article, it definitely says that on his campus, it was the wide-known secret, quote-unquote, as they say.
Yeah.
Because it was like, they all knew about it, and pretty much they said that pretty much majority of the NFL teams probably already knew. But him coming out and saying it is what's dropping his stock in the draft right now, I think, is because of the PR.
And
which is ridiculous.
I don't know what your sources are, but I've yet to hear anything like that his draft stock is dropping.
I read it on SI.com.
And I don't even see that happening at all. Honestly, it's two very different situations, but Manti Te'o was a 1st-round pick last year.
Yes.
And his situation was negative. Michael Sam is not negative. This is a positive situation for this kid that's going to bring a lot of media attention. It's not going to be negative media attention. It's going to be positive media attention that someone is doing something like this. How the hell can you say that his draft stock is dropping? I would love to have that kid on my team. That he has the courage and the strength to come out and do something like this in this day and age.
I agree. I totally agree, and I am on your side. And I really hope to God that all the NFL teams out there think like we do.
Yeah,
but
they will.
You sound very.
I see no way.
Like you sound so sure of yourself.
This kid's getting drafted.
Okay.
I don't know what round. Might be a 4th round pick. Might be a 7th round flyer. Hell, somebody could take a 2nd round pick on him. Just to make a point.
Okay.
Kid's getting drafted. He's you know what? Aside from everything, he's a damn good football player.
Oh, I agree. I watched him plenty of times on CBS and ESPN and whatnot.
Exactly.
He's a difference maker on that defense, and it's Missouri. So I mean,
it's an SEC defense.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't crap the bed in the combine, as long as he puts up decent numbers, kid's getting drafted. And you know what? It's gonna have to be the right situation. He can't go into a broken locker room. If he goes to Miami, his career's over in a year. If he goes, he goes
to Cleveland, game's over.
Here's the perfect place for Michael Sam to go.
Okay.
Seattle Seahawks. If they were to take a 3rd or 4th round flyer, a solid locker room led by a solid coach,
I agree.
That defense loves each other. If they could add a personality like that and have him and be with those guys, he's through the roof.
Well, the other teams I did talk about are basically like the Seattle Seahawks on that defensive side and in the franchise. The Baltimore Ravens, the San Francisco 49ers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, any kind of team where, you got strong veteran leadership, it's a strong locker room who loves each other, and they want to go to, battle and play games and go to war with each other, for the name on the back as well as the name on the front. It's going to be a perfect fit. But like you said, if he goes to Cleveland or, goes to Miami or, heaven forbid, goes to the Cowboys or something like that, his career's over. It's game over.
Like I said, it's 2 very different situations, but if Manti Te'o goes elsewhere to a broken locker room, he doesn't have a career. He would have been laughed out of the locker room, and he wouldn't have played. But it turned out San Diego was a solid locker room, had some veteran leadership, brought him along, and guess who's going to be the starting inside backer for the San Diego Chargers?
For years to come.
It's Manti Te'o.
Yeah, and he's a solid inside backer.
And this guy, what's the difference between Te'o and Sam? Sam's a solid outside backer.
You know what the only difference is?
What?
Sam came out and said he's gay. And doesn't matter to me, doesn't matter to you, but it matters to somebody out there, as a GM, a publicist, an owner, whether it's right or wrong, it's true. Right now, as soon as that official notice happened, tons of front offices just had a meeting and said, where do we fall on this? That's wrong.
Yeah.
It's not right.
It's a shame.
But I'm sure it happened across America because, it's their franchise. It's the money that they're giving. It's the perception, blah, blah, reality, all that BS.
You know what? I'm rooting for this kid.
Me too.
I hope he goes to the right situation.
And I hope he flourishes. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I hope he does so well.
And I really could care less what the media says and what the media does, but I'm somewhat hoping that it's positive coverage because there's very little negative about this. This kid's commendable, and he's doing such a tough thing, and he seems like the right kid to do it.
And you're right. And guys out there, if you don't know what Sean's talking about, that media in the city that he gets drafted in, they play a huge role in whether or not the public at large will accept him as one of their own. Mm-hmm. It's one thing for the culture of the locker room to change, but the culture of the media to kind of pick apart things and bring you down because they don't like you or something, that's got to change too.
Yep. Yeah, and you know what? I hope he's the first of many. I hope that people
exactly.
I hope that people really come to terms with this and that this country can come through this because I hope this is a non-issue in a year.
Oh yeah, and I hope
you know what? I want the best players in the professional sports. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what sexuality you are.
For sure.
If you can play, I want you in the
Exactly.
league.
That's exactly all I've been seeing on social media is, hey, can he play? If he can play, let him play. Can he play? Things like that. And I'm glad.
As long as you're not in trouble with the law.
Exactly.
That's my one.
No, that's exactly because that's a.
It's dicey. I don't like it.
Yeah, because that could say things about what your future. Anyway, but that's a whole different topic to deal with.
Sexual orientation and race should not matter in professional sports. And
can you play?
I thank God for Michael Sam that he's come along.
Can you play? Yes. All right, let's play.
Let's get there.
But anyway, that is what's going on in the world of sports to take you away from a little Olympic action and stuff. But I mean, just to touch on the Olympics, it's going well. I actually watch a little Olympics. There's a new competition called team figure skating,
Yeah, I was watching some of that.
and
Interesting.
it is interesting. And I was curious. I was confused at first because I
So was
thought because me and my brother both we
Mhm.
thought that the people skating were trying to qualify for the individual events through the team event, like kind of like gymnastics almost.
Almost like a prelim kind of
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, where they have the team gymnastics going around, and if you score high enough in certain categories,
Yeah.
you qualify for the individual whatever event.
Mhm.
But then we realized, oh no, this is just a team competition.
Yeah, it's its
and then a
own thing.
week, and then like at the end of the week, like track and field, like the big event and the winter games is ice figure skating.
Mhm.
You have your traditional singles, men's, women's pairs, ice dancing, things like that, which was interesting, intriguing at least.
Yeah.
Other real quick Olympic hits is I'm glad that Maria Sharapova got to go back to Sochi, her home city, and to carry the torch. That must have been a thrill for her.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was awesome to see the 15-year-old Russian female skater.
Can't say her name.
Yeah, I can't say her name, but she's
But yes, that was
15,
cool.
and you can. I mean, this is what I love about the Olympics. She's probably gonna, be in competition as the darlings of the Olympic, as one of the darlings of the Olympics, just based on her performance in the team competition. But unfortunately for her, unlike most Olympics, she won't have the element of surprise anymore going into the singles competition.
Yeah.
Other than that, the women or the U.S. team is doing fairly well.
What are they, third right now? in
They're,
medals?
they're third in medals right now, and I think,
Norway's first.
yeah. Well,
What a
it's
shocker.
it's not fair to even look at it really because Norway is in first because of their cross country skiing. Like there's 3 events in that, a couple of combined events, the ski jumping. That brings me to another thing: ski jumping. I thought I understood what ski jumping was. I thought you jumped, you go far, and then if you stand up straight or not, you get some deductions, and there you go, right? No, I have no idea how to score ski jumping. Like ski jumping, figure skating, any of those arbitrary sports where you just kind of throw out numbers for judges.
Yeah.
I actually told my brother, I now understand why when I watch Olympics on TV, the most biased commentators for the United States are both the gymnastics for summer games and the figure skating announcers for winter games. Because the judging is so biased that you have to be kind of biased for your own country so that the average fan who doesn't really follow figure skating doesn't leave, their couch going, well, crap, why didn't she do better? I thought she was supposed to be good, or he's supposed to be good,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I feel like, sorry folks out there that wanted some more Olympic coverage, but I feel like that's about as much Olympic coverage as I'm going to give you, because...
Biggest disappointment of the Olympics so far, Bodie Miller.
Oh, yeah, you know what, I
Huge
did see that.
Huge week of training. He was as fast as could be. He got to the event, ended up 6th.
Hold on, though. If you've been following Bodie Miller's career at all, and I'm pretty sure you have a little bit, and I feel like
One of the most famous Winter Olympians.
yeah, and I feel like I have enough for never watching skiing. But isn't that basically his career?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, he's
He's
always been
basically
kind of
the
arrogant.
Rick Meyer of skiing, right? Potentially all these multiple gold medal potentials, and you're either a silver medalist or you're in the top 6.
Yeah, there's no denying talent, but he faltered on the big stage. He messed up a huge turn.
He just likes to party too hard, I think.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I was disappointed. I watched that event. I was very disappointed in him, but
I'm
I,
disappointed that I don't get extended cable, so I don't get the NBC Sports channel or whatever that is.
yeah, MSNBC, all those
And
things.
all those.
Yeah.
So I was upset today because I have a day off, as we all know, on Monday. Same thing with you, but
Well,
I didn't get to watch curling this morning because I don't have
missed
that.
out.
I don't have that channel.
curling is so much fun. Oh,
Hey, don't judge curling.
no,
It's fun.
It's good. I'm gonna be playing shuffleboard in 50 years, so might as well get into curling
Hey,
now.
And 4 years ago, when curling was all over MSNBC and CNBC, I actually went to go try out curling out in Vacaville at their ice center, and I kid you, no, what you laugh, but I kid you not, there was in excess of 70 to 100 people there
Oh my
wanting to learn how to curl.
What else is there to do in Vacaville?
I don't know, but I didn't think curling was going to be one of those things. But, you know, like,
Yeah.
hey, that goes to show you how strong media and TV really is, though. They made it
Absolutely.
look so cool and, like, whatever. And everyone's like, oh, I want to learn how to do that.
It is cool.
And you know what? I mean, secretly, I kind of went out to go try it out because I was like, well, if there's any sport that I could just get off the couch and try to qualify myself as an Olympian,
Curling.
this might be it.
Yep.
there's no other sport out there. I thought about it. I'm like, no. Archery, summer games, I have to know how to, you know, use a bow and arrow.
Katniss Everdeen.
Skeet shooting, I have to know how to use a gun, hit moving targets. And
Yeah.
I feel like curling, as long as I know how to sweep really well, I don't even have to even do the rock or, what, you know, whatever the thing is that you do. You know what? I'm not. Why am I lying? I know it's called the rock.
Yeah.
I just use it in a sentence. And
There's
anyway.
there's something about the hammer in the game. Like if some team has a hammer.
Yeah.
It's fun.
There you
It's just
go.
fun.
It sounds like a lot of bullying, but it's not.
It's good. It's good fun. It's
The
good
stone, hammer, you know, legs.
fun. Hammer. Hammer.
Hey, no wonder the Swiss and the Norwegians and like the Canadians are so good. Like, okay, I'm gonna stop before I get in trouble. I was gonna continue that sentence and probably get in trouble with all of our Canadian listeners. I don't know if we have any Norwegian listeners quite yet.
It's all right. We'll turn off the lights because they're afraid of the dark. So. How I Met Your Mother, baby. How I Met Your Mother. Robin Shabbatsky.
Oh, How I Met Your Mother. You know what? I'm only laughing because I thought that was funny. I've never even seen that episode.
It's
Oh,
good.
man.
They make fun of Canadians a lot.
Oh, man. You know what? And with that, we're going to take our last break. And on the other side of this break, we got some NBA mid-season recap for you by Sean.
Be excited.
So we're going to take this break, eh? We'll see you on the other side, eh?
Oh, Canada.
Oh, man. All right.
Jeez.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Food and liquor. Oh, my gosh. I'm just like, what is going on right now? This food and liquor?
Let me pull the NBA midseason report. Oats.
Oats?
Alright. Got that. Yeah, I don't know the rest of the Canadian anthem.
It's okay. Why would you?
I watch a lot of hockey. I play it occasionally.
That is true.
Alright, yeah. Woo. Alright, so I have 35 minutes on the meter. That will be plenty of time for this. Alright, so I have one of these again.
Oh, for sure. And you know what's awesome about this time? We don't have to fucking be like,
Exactly.
"Oh, hurry." See, it's okay. It's YouTube. I can say that.
YouTube, motherfuckers!
All right. I'm wondering what this is gonna sound like, during the breaks and stuff.
What, the mix thing?
Yeah, I bet it's gonna sound awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so. Just making sure shit's good here.
Alright, I have a pretty good lead in.
All right.
You want me to know when? Jason Derulo. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What was that?
Just real quick, just Jason Derulo.
Okay.
What you say?
Oh, hey, American Idol people out there, that's your cue, man.
Sign me up.
We got the man right here. He doesn't even come in. Just
Yeah.
take the YouTube video, play it out. You got a champion right there.
Me and Harry Connick Jr. can hang out.
You got it, Junior.
All right, so that is my lovely lead-in for this Monday, our 13th.
That was lucky 13. That was
Yes.
awesome right there.
And here's my point of 13. This is probably the only time I will ever show you who I really am. But the number 13 is my favorite number, and there's really only one reason why. It's the Phoenix Suns,
Steve.
and it's the greatest point guard in the history of the NBA, and it's Steve Nash. It was his 40th birthday this weekend,
okay.
and he played on his 40th birthday. He played in Philadelphia, and he had a sick crossover on every
God.
turnover. Had a right-handed layup, and let's just say I was excited.
Did you just call him the greatest point guard in the history of the NBA?
He's in the top 5.
All right, I'll give you top 5, but I just wanted you to hear that in your own ears there.
It's hyperbole, but I love him. Okay, he's awesome, and he's 40. And he's still playing in the NBA.
Hey, he's the best Canadian point guard in the history of the league.
He's the best Canadian in the history of the world.
He's the best Santa Clara point guard in the history of the league.
Yeah, there's not much competition for him there. All right, so that is.
If you can't tell, we're talking about NBA now.
Yeah, that's a good lead into my NBA segment. I love Steve Nash. That's all that needs to be said.
He needs to go and play for the East so he can be an All-Star again.
Yeah, I don't know if he could do.
Go to Toronto.
His body's breaking down. All right, so I have one of these things again. If you can see on YouTube,
it's color coded and it's double sided.
Yeah,
that's all you need to know.
It's just nerded out totally.
Oh, nerded out.
So I break it into 2 sides. I do the East and I do the West. I will start with the East because it will take very quick to get through the East. Because because they look like that. They got the thumbs down on that one. The East has been horrible this year, and there's really no other way to say it. They've been bad. The worst team.
They're the least.
They're the least of the East is Milwaukee. They've been atrocious, and the worst part about it is they came out before the season and said they were trying to make a playoff push. They're not doing that anymore.
You know what, Sean? You know how you said when Philadelphia was like 4-1 or 5-1. You know they said you said that maybe they're just making it.
Oh yeah, that first week. So
no, but you know how you were saying that maybe they're just giving their fan base something to hope for. So when they fail, they're like, oh, maybe Milwaukee just took another step further and just declared they're going to be fighting for a championship, and then just came out the gate so bad the fan base was like, wait, was I dreaming that statement?
Did they say that? Did they? Yeah, they did. Milwaukee's horrible.
Oh, wow. They are 1 and whatever against the West. Who did they beat?
It was a shocker, too. It was like recently, I think. I don't remember who they beat.
Oh, my God. Go ahead with your recap. I'm going to see who they beat. This is embarrassing.
They're bad. Milwaukee's bad. They're bad at home. They're bad on the road. If you know what? If last year was any sign of the times, Seattle almost stole the Kings away from Sacramento, and Sacramento stood up and said, nah. You're not going to take our team. It's not going to happen. We'll get to Kings later. But if there's any team that's yeah, I think I was pretty sure it was the Lakers.
Oh no!
Milwaukee beat the Lakers this year. If there's any team that's going to move to Seattle, it is the Milwaukee Bucks.
No.
I watched a Bucks game the other day.
They're not going to beat any other Western Conference team.
And no one goes to their games. Like the last thing I saw, you could get season tickets for under $100, I think, something like that. There's like all these crazy packages that are unfathomable for any other NBA franchise, but it's a horrible situation in Milwaukee. So that's all I have to say about them. Orlando and Philadelphia are kind of both in the same little mode. Orlando has been injury plagued most of the season. Nick Vucevic has been hurt. He's a guy I talked about before the season. He's really good. Oladipo has been pretty good. I kind of picked him as Rookie of the Year before the year. He was one of my picks. For Rookie of the Year, it's tough to pick one. Like last year, I picked Damian Lillard. Without a doubt, and he won it.
Well, he was hands down.
Well, I mean, it was either him or Anthony Davis. Most people went with Davis, but Davis was hurt for most of the season. But no, Oladipo was my pick. He's been pretty good. Orlando, I don't see much wrong with them if they're healthy. Jameer Nelson, Aaron Aflalo has been playing out of his mind. Tobias Harris, and then Glenn Davis kind of plays the 4. Nick Vucevic is a good 5. Oladipo coming off the bench. That's not horrible. Like, if you can build around that, I mean, Jameer's good. Jameer's been good for a while, but, I mean, he could,
That's where your trouble is right here.
Yeah, he could.
They're
he could
3-23 on the road. That's where they're struggling.
They're not a good road team. Well, they're not a good team anyway, but I don't see much wrong with the rotation. They need to build around Oladipo. I would have traded Aflalo. I think his trade stock is going down a little bit more.
Isn't there still time to trade Aflalo?
Yeah, but he was at his peak like a week and a half ago, and the last week and a half he's kind of come back to earth a little bit. He was really upset he wasn't an all-star. Like, he was making an all-star bid, and honestly, he was in the discussion to be an all-star.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And Aflalo used to be like the 7th man in Denver, like in his prime, but now he's stepped up. He's been really good. I really thought they should have traded him.
This is kind of a horrible-looking team.
Well, yeah, like as of right now, it's not built well. Like if you can change Jameer Nelson and Glenn Davis into younger, more talented players.
Into someone not them.
Yeah, into something not them. Like, I think Jameer's a good backup on a contender.
Yeah, and so is Glenn Davis.
Exactly. Like, Glenn Davis thrived in Boston as the guy coming off the bench, play, bench time minutes. So Orlando, there are problems there. Philly, I mean, I talked about them for the season. I think they're the worst team in the NBA. I think they're worse than Milwaukee. I don't hate their rotation either. I kind of like who they have. MCW, he was one of the 3 guys I picked as Rookie of the Year just because I thought he'd play so much, and turns out he's actually pretty good. MCW at the point, Evan Turner and Thad Young, they were both, before the season, both kind of tradable pieces. I don't know if Philly wants to part with them. I know Evan Turner's kind of on the block, but they're asking for quite a bit for Evan Turner. I don't know if they'll get it for him.
I wouldn't trade him.
I wouldn't trade him either because
him and Carter Williams are going to be a good backcourt for years to come if they can solidify that backcourt and build around those 2 players, basically.
Yeah. And I like Tony Roten too coming off the bench. I think he's a solid combo guard. If they could get a true backup point guard, hell, even Andre Miller, he's out there. If they could bring him into this situation, maybe keep him around, that would be really good. And then they also have Nerlens Noel. I mean, he hasn't played all this season, but
that's going to be good when he gets on the court.
But you look at next year. I mean, if you keep that rotation, MC Dub, Turn, Young, Noel, and then Hawes at the 5, I don't have very many problems with that team. Like, I think they could do something in this crappy Eastern Conference. I think next year, Philadelphia is. I mean, they're going to be good because they're going to get a lottery pick without a doubt. I mean, they're horrible this year. So you add one more piece.
Did that just say? Dang.
Oh, the Clipper game was horrible. Yeah, that was my next point about Philadelphia. They played the Clippers yesterday, and it was 100-51 at the end of the 3rd quarter. One of the worst defeats ever. It was terrible. So that's Philly. I mean, they have a very bad record. I said at the beginning of the year when I did the preview that they had that good first week, and because of that, no one's going to care when they start tanking. They started playing horribly, and
fair enough.
No one's really cared. So
fair enough.
And I like the coach. I hope he sticks around. Brett Brown, he's Pop's assistant for a while. Next thing I want to talk about is Boston. They have to shorten their rotation. I know they've been injured. Rondo's been out most of the season. But they have to find a rotation, and it's tough.
Boston's actually doing better than I thought they would do.
They are, because I thought they'd be horrible without Rondo, and they somehow
18 wins.
Yeah, they kind of picked it up. Paul Pressey's.
Them and the Lakers have 18 wins.
He was a good kind of stopgap at the point. Boston's in a lot of the situations the UC Davis men's basketball team is. They're injured, and they're trying to find a rotation, so they're almost playing too many guys, trying to figure out a rotation. I think that's what Boston's in right now.
For sure.
And Brad Stevens, I mean, he's a terrific coach. It ended up being a bit higher.
I mean, I'm glad he's in Boston, because I feel like the Boston ownership, they're going to keep Stevens around no matter what the record is for the next couple of years.
I think he signed a 5-year deal,
yeah,
too, so they kind of had trust and faith
and I think
in him.
he gets at least 4 of those 5, even if they are bad for a couple of years.
And I hope management, plays it out and gives him the right pieces. They need to find a center. Omer Sheik's sitting out there. He doesn't play, but I mean, if they could get a guy like Omer Sheik,
who would they trade for a Sheik though?
They'd probably have to give up Brandon Bass, a guy who I think would do well in Houston. But I don't know if Houston would actually take that deal. Just a name I was throwing out there. They got to shorten their rotation. Rondo and Bradley, Jeff Green. I like Jared Sullinger at the 4, but they have to find a 5 for next year. That's kind of what they're looking at now. Cleveland, next team.
They should be so disappointed.
What a waste.
Yeah,
what a waste.
You know what they should be? They should be in that Toronto-Atlanta realm where it's like 26, 24, 25, 20, or even a better record. But they should be the 3rd or 4th best.
I have my preview sheet right here. That's where I had them.
Oh, really?
That's where they should be.
Yeah.
They should be in that 5 to 6 to 7 range.
Yeah.
And they're terrible because they just can't figure it out.
You know what? That number 1 draft pick?
Oh, what a waste. Anthony Bennett was the wrong guy. He was the
wrong
guy.
Dude.
And I don't care if he turns into anything for the rest of his career. He was the wrong guy. He was the wrong guy for that team, wrong guy for that situation. Wasn't good enough to be a number 1 pick, and it's a shame.
He's not even starting anymore.
No, he hardly plays. It's just bad management, just a cursed situation.
Couldn't have happened to a better owner.
Yeah, it's terrible. I don't like Dan Gilbert, but it's sad because I did my whole thing with Steve Nash. He's my favorite player of all time. Kyrie Irving, quickly becoming my second favorite, and it's a shame that he plays on this team. I think he's a little too young
they're
to
paying
be.
Anthony Bennett $5.3 million this year.
He was the number 1 pick. You got to pay him
true.
number 1 money. So Cleveland, what a waste. I'm really sad for Kyrie. Happy he made the All-Star team. Hopefully he comes to his senses and gets out of there as quickly as possible.
Bet he wishes he was at Duke right now.
Oh man, don't remind me. Him and Austin Rivers could be playing right now.
And I bet you right now both of them want to be back.
Oh, of course they do. So that's it for Cleveland. I'll talk about Detroit next because they're kind of in that zone. They're right outside the playoffs. How many games out are they?
They are like half a game back of Charlotte, and they're 1.5 games in front of New York for that 9th spot.
There's like a 3 or 4 team race for that 8 and 7 seed.
By the way, Brooklyn and New York, they may not do anything in the playoffs, but they've definitely gotten off the deck.
Yeah.
Like they were in the Milwaukee, Philadelphia area for a long time.
Yeah. I'll get to them in just a second. I want to hit on Detroit. Drummond and Monroe are a really good pair. Josh Smith doesn't fit, and I love.
He's
the
never
signing,
fit.
And I love the signing for Detroit. I loved it. I thought it was going to work, but he just doesn't fit on this team. For this duo to work of Monroe and Drummond, you need an outside shooter.
And Josh
Smith is
he's not that guy.
And I loved the defense. I loved the length. I said on the NBA preview, try and rebound against this team.
You know what type of guy they need from the outside?
Who?
Like a Shane Battier, Tayshaun Prince type, where you can play defense and hit the perimeter and not take up space on the court by being a negative energy guy. But when it comes down to the trailer and they forget about you in the wing, you can hit that open 3 so that you get less clogged in the middle because of that.
Yeah, and it's a shame because Josh Smith is one of the most untradeable contracts in the league right now. So
you know who's smiling? The Hawks.
Yeah. So that's kind of a tough situation. I think Brandon Jennings needs some help because if you build around Jennings, Drummond, and Monroe, they could be very good.
You know what? Back when you were doing the preview, and I thought Jennings was a buck, and I was gonna say, they're only gonna go as far as Jennings can lead them.
Mm-hmm.
That same thing for Detroit right now. It's like, just let Brandon Jennings lead you. And be the best complementary players you can around him, and play team defense like you know how to do. And the 3 teams ahead of them, I mean, I'll even include Washington at 5. The 4 teams ahead of Detroit, they are easily catchable with the way Detroit plays this year.
Well, Detroit just fired their head coach.
Oh, why?
It could have been catchable.
Why? Wait, what? Why?
It's to be determined. We still don't know the reason. Chauncey Billups came out and said it kind of caught him off guard, but. I agree. I think the Pistons still have a chance at the playoffs.
Not anymore. I mean, it depends what they get now.
It depends what they get. But in my preview, I had them as the 8 seed in that kind of class of teams that could jump up and down.
You don't change a coach like that. Oh my gosh.
And he's a first coach hired. He was not my pick as first coach hired. So tough situation in Detroit. Now we can talk about the New York teams, New York and Brooklyn. Brooklyn right now is in the playoffs. The Knicks are not. But as you said, they've both kind of picked themselves up off the mat. Brooklyn a little bit more so than the Knicks. The Knicks, Melo is kind of faced with a quandary. One of my favorite words in the English language, quandary.
Is it pass or shoot?
Should I stay or should I go? This year's all about where he wants to play. And you know what? I still like the makeup of the team when they're healthy. And it's tough for that team to be healthy. It seems like every time somebody gets healthy, somebody goes down with an injury. I hope he stays. I think he will stay. I think he'll come to terms with he's a New York guy, and it's fun being the Knicks' go-to guy.
What if he stays in New York, but he goes to Brooklyn, New York?
Not going to happen. No.
No?
If he leaves, he's going to the Lakers, and I don't see the Lakers happening. So I think he stays in New York. The free agency process is going to be weird because he's going to test it, but I think he stays. It's a tough situation for the Knicks, but they still have a chance to make the playoffs if they're healthy. Brooklyn.
That's the beauty of being in the East, right?
Yeah.
As long as you have about 18 to 20 games this point of the season, you're in contention for a spot.
Exactly. And Brooklyn, I like their team going into the season. No Brook Lopez, no chance. There's no chance they do anything resembling what they wanted to do before the season.
He's basically Tyson Chandler for them.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
I'm sorry, KG. He can't play center anymore, especially in that Eastern Conference playoff run. He can't do it. Joe Johnson.
He used to be a thin power forward now.
Yeah, and not play too many minutes. He can't be a starting center.
Nope.
Joe Johnson needs to step up, even though he's an all-star. I thought he could do a little bit more for this team. D. Will has not been healthy all year, but he's finally kind of back and getting into the rotation. That's good news. And you know what? When they're playing Miami, if they play Miami in the playoffs, they got Paul Pierce and they got Andre Karolinko, two guys who really piss LeBron off. So
You know, if Brooklyn and Detroit were not in the same conference, I would say it would make the most sense for Brooklyn to trade Joe Johnson for a guy like Josh Smith.
can't trade his contract.
No. I mean, but I feel like they would probably explore a way to do that if it was not in the same conference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and those two would be, pretty good matchup.
Because Detroit needs a 3-point shooter from the outside. That's Joe Johnson for you.
And Josh Smith could be the do-it-all guy
exactly,
that Paul Pierce used to be.
Yeah, exactly.
I could see that working out. So New York, they're getting back up there. It's been a horrible last 13, 14 months for New York sports. So it's good to see the basketball team stepping up. Charlotte, I love their rotation. Kemba Walker, Gerald Henderson, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Josh McRoberts, Big Al.
Michael Jordan still owns them, right?
Yes. So there's that problem.
I thought maybe he didn't because they're almost like playoff contenders right now.
Exactly. But Big Al, he's a monster down low. I like McRoberts playing with him. I wish Ben Gordon would get some more minutes. And the young Zeller, not necessarily the best pick for them. And then the most depressing team in the NBA is the Chicago Bulls.
Man,
I feel horrible.
I do feel horrible for Derrick Rose and just the whole franchise
because it's tough.
Because they are a 500 ball club and their whole team is despondent and like just basically like their heads are not totally in it.
Yeah,
and yet they're still 5,500.
Yep.
And I commend them. Yeah, I commend them for that. That's intestinal fortitude right there.
That's Tom Thibodeau for you. He's a good coach. Hopefully he's the next coach next year.
I was going to ask you, did you hear about that rumor?
Oh, it's going to happen.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He's out of. He doesn't like management in Chicago, and he's a great coach. He'll get hired.
Man.
Throw money at him. No D Rose, no chance. Same thing with Brook Lopez. They cannot do anything in the East without D Rose. They'll burn out just like last year.
Yep.
They're going to amnesty Boozer. We talked about this last year. They're going to amnesty Boozer at the end of the year so they can keep Gibson, Noah, and Butler around. Boozer will end up on a different team. I don't know. His contract's crazy. But if they build around them, that'll be good. And Luol Deng is a free agent at the end of the year. I hope he comes back to Chicago because he loves Chicago. I think that would be fun if he were to come back. But tough year, very tough year for Chicago. They're going to make some noise in the playoffs, but they're going to burn out, and they're not going to do anything to threaten the top. Washington, very happy with Washington. They are pretty much exactly where I put them.
They've made their move.
They made their move, and John Wall grew up. He's
right before our eyes.
Yep, he's ready for the responsibility of having playoff expectations every year, and he just signed that huge contract, so I'm very happy with him. They have a swingman jumble, Ariza, Martell Webster, and Otto Porter. They need to figure that out, move one of them so they can have a two-man rotation.
I would trade Ariza. He gets the most value
So
back.
would I. And Bradley Beal is real. He's a really good player, really good shooter.
I'm sure it helps to have his name rhyme with real like that.
That's why I said it. He's a good player. So Washington I'm very happy with. They're going to be solid in that 4-5 range. I don't know if they can really test Indiana or Miami, but they're one of those teams that could give them a run. I think the bigs in Washington, Nene and Gortat,
Plus,
I think they can give them problems.
Plus, Washington's one of those teams where they just don't know any better.
Yeah,
If they make the playoffs and they win a couple of games, their confidence gets up. It's like, well,
yeah,
we're not supposed to be here anyway. Whatever. All this is like anything more than this is gravy.
Exactly.
And that's a dangerous team.
And I'm gonna group the next two together because they're both similar situations. Atlanta and Toronto, you're having great years, but I mean you're in the East and you're
best of the bunch right there.
You're in the East with Indiana, Miami. Atlanta, no Horford, no chance. If they had Al Horford, I'd give him maybe a shot to beat Miami because bigs mess with Miami. But I like Teague, I like Millsap. I would dangle Korver out there to a contender.
Really?
In the Western Conference, he could be a playoff guy.
Spot up shooter.
Exactly. And Toronto, I love DeRozan. I love Kyle Lowry together. They make a really good matchup.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, that would be a good team for them, but I don't know what they would have to give back.
That's true.
The problem.
That's true.
Korver could be in the Western Conference. Jonas Valanciunas, Jonas Christ Superstar, whatever you want to call him.
Gesundheit. I'm sorry.
Exactly. He's getting there. Amir Johnson's been a total letdown. And I watched the Toronto game the other day. Patrick Patterson, John Salmons, Chuck Hayes were all in crunch time. Oh my God, they're not beating Miami.
Did you say two of those names were Chuck Hayes and John Salmons?
Yeah, you heard me right. So that's the state of Toronto. They're the third seed in the East right now. And they
third
played
seed.
Yeah.
The third seed.
Yeah, so that's the Eastern Conference. Indiana, Miami. Like I said
what
last
needs
week,
to be said about them, really?
That's the Eastern Conference championship. I honestly at this point I don't know who wins.
So here's the thing. In all the years of sports that I've watched, I feel like these kind of questions happen every 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Do you think 100% guaranteed Miami and Indiana meet in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yep.
And if they don't, would you be shocked even if it was someone that was making a super terrific run in the playoffs?
The only one I could even fathom getting there is Brooklyn. When healthy, just because I think they have too many All-Stars on their team that they can.
But basically this is basically as much of a slam dunk as you can get in sports right now. As the top two teams in the East are probably going to be the top two teams in the East.
Absolutely. And I do have a
Just
couple
amazes
of
me.
Indiana, their defensive power, but they added offense this year. Born Ready, that's Lance Stevenson. He made the jump this year. Still pissed he's not an
Didn't they
All-Star.
just sign Bynum?
Yeah, Bynum's their backup center at some point this season. So I think Jan Mahinmi is a guy who can get traded, maybe the Lakers, hopefully.
That's basically their chess move to counter Greg Oden, basically.
Yep, and I really hope that matchup happens in the playoffs. That 5 minutes a game, those two guard each other.
You know what though? I feel like if it comes down to those two guarding each other for 5-minute stretches, I feel like Bynum, even with his kind of childish behavior lately, he wins that battle 99 of 100 times.
And he's in the right situation, so that's good. Miami, they're coasting right now, and I'm not worried about them. I don't think they're worried about them either.
Are you at all insulted by the fact they're coasting?
God, no. They're 2-time defending champions. They can do what they want.
Oh, no, for sure. I'm just asking the question.
Bosch, quietly, is still really good. He's a really good player. He deserves to be an all-star. He's fun to watch. Mario Chalmers and Norris Cole are the X factor because I would take both of them over George Hill in the playoff series. So I think that's and we'll get to that come playoff time.
Wow, folks, his Twitter handle is not.
I like Mario Chalmers. He's a good guy.
The little brother.
That's the little brother. Eastern Conference. Nothing special there. Now moving out west, I'm going to start with this team.
Where the real basketball's being played right now?
Yeah. I know a lot of people care about this team, but the Kings are terrible. They're really bad. They got a little bit of injury bug hit them lately, but even with that, they're a bad team. I still don't think Isaiah Thomas is a starter. I think he should be a backup. I know he's playing well right now, but he's playing well on a really bad team.
You know, this upcoming draft has a lot of point guards that could fit the Sacramento Kings system.
Marcus Smart.
That's
the guy I hope. That's the guy I hope the Kings get.
Could you imagine that backcourt of was it McKenzie?
Smart and McLemore.
McLemore, is it Smart and McLemore?
Could be good. Could be good, but I think
Boogie in the middle.
I wrote down here McLemore needed to stay in college. He's athletic and he's a good shooter, but he needed to develop his game a little bit more.
Yes, they do. Did you hear about that though?
What?
The NBA new commissioner, as well as somebody else.
Adam Silver's looking to raise the minimum age. Yeah, I heard that too. We'll get to that at some point because that's an issue for me. We'll get to that come draft time. Boogie didn't deserve to be an all-star. I know you disagree with me, but when you're the last place team in the Western Conference, you have to put up spectacular numbers.
Yeah, that's true.
He's putting up really good numbers.
Not spectacular though. Okay, fair enough. Almost MVP caliber numbers on a bad team, right?
Yep, has to be. And you know it's a shame because I like Boogie, but didn't deserve to be an all-star. Utah, they need to trade Gordon Hayward to Boston. That reunion, Hayward and Brad Stevens needs to happen. I don't care who they give
for
up.
Brandon Bass.
I hope. I just want Gordon Hayward to be with the Celtics and play under Brad Stevens. I think that'll be fun. Trey Burke and Derek Favors, the guy you build around. Cantor, not a terrible center.
I was gonna say, for all you Utah and Sacramento fans out there is one bright side. At least you're not the Bucks.
At least you're not the Bucks. Lakers, hardly any bright side. They're playing for next year. Nash and Kobe, who will hopefully be healthy. And
how do you convince Kobe that he's not quite healthy enough to come back this year?
You fire Mike D'Antoni.
Or you pay the doctors to tell him that he's day-to-day still, and he's day-to-day still, and he's day-to-day still, until he kind of gets the fact that it's only a week left, and
Yeah, I don't know. Kobe. It's whatever. But the Lakers are terrible. I don't want to talk about them. They're just depressing. New Orleans.
By the way, when draft time comes around, I'm going to revisit the thing I talked about maybe years ago. Is it time to trade Kobe for future?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
We'll get to that come draft time. So I'd like to have that discussion too.
New Orleans.
What a wasted year. No Ryan Anderson. He hurt himself horribly, and he's out for the rest of the season, he was a really good asset, probably a tradable piece. Anthony Davis should have been an all-star, but he is now the injured reserve for Kobe, which I'm very happy about.
Oh, good. That's a good selection.
Hometown kid, I like that.
Yeah.
Tyreek, Eric Gordon, and Drew Holiday doesn't work. You got to move one of them. They're all tradable pieces.
I would move Tyreek.
Yeah, I would. I don't know.
Tyreek
you keep Drew Holiday without a doubt. I'd like to trade Eric Gordon, maybe keep Tyreek around.
Well, is it because you would get more for Eric Gordon, more in return for Eric Gordon?
You would get more for Eric Gordon.
Well, see, here's the thing. I know you would get more in return for Eric Gordon, but I feel like if you get more in return for Eric Gordon and keeping Tyreek and losing Eric Gordon, you lose a lot more in that exchange.
I guess.
Yeah,
It just doesn't work. They need to fix it. Monty Williams is a good coach.
I just feel like Tyreek doesn't work anywhere.
Yeah, he's got to be in the right situation. I don't know. Denver, next team.
What would be the right situation?
I know, it's tough. Ty Lawson needs to play with better talent. It's a shame because he's a really good point guard. Kenneth Faried is one of the most disappointing players of the year. He was supposed to be a step-up guy. He's been a huge step down this year. And they need to get rid of Andre Miller. Minnesota, they were a team that I had outside of playoff race.
Come home, Kevin.
They are right out of it, right exactly where I thought they'd be just because of health. They've been healthy. It's just that Ricky Rubio is terrible. He'll be out of the league in 2 years. He cannot shoot.
He's too busy running that K line.
Yeah, and when you can't shoot, you're not going to last in the NBA. And DK said it. Trade Kevin Love for as much as you can get. You know he ain't staying.
Yeah, I would.
Trade him to wherever and try and get as much back as possible. Dallas, next team. I believe they're right outside. Nope, they just jumped up.
Yeah.
So that kind of like 7 to 10 spot is kind of a jumble.
Day to day.
Yeah,
who wins, who loses.
Like I did this from what I saw. I believe it was Friday. I did this. So things have changed. But
yeah, in 3 days, it's like jumping around.
Yeah, and so Dallas is right in that mix to the next team. Rick Carlisle cannot be counted out. He's one of the 5 best coaches in basketball. Dirk is having a huge year, something I said before the year. He's having a huge year. He deserved to be an all-star. We said it was kind of a lifetime achievement award, but he's having the numbers on a good enough team, so he deserved it. I thought Monte should have been at least in the discussion of being an all-star. He's had a huge step up.
Monte is probably the reason that Dirk's having such a good year.
Yeah, because he has a secondary option.
Yeah.
They need a big. Sam Dallenberg starts for them right now. So,
wow.
That eliminates them from any type of championship contention.
He was a big when he was in Philadelphia.
Yeah, exactly. Memphis, next team. They're a team that I had pretty high in my preseason rankings. I had them at number 4. Marcus Saul was injured for most of the year. He's back now. They're starting to step up. I believe they are the 8 seed.
They're 9 now.
They're the 9 seed.
They're
okay. So
2.5 games back of Golden State.
Okay, so they're really close. But Gasol's back. That hurt him quite a bit. Conley is really good. Tony Allen, he's hurt right now, but he'll come back. They'll be fine. I love Nick Kalathis for anyone who's been watching Memphis at all. Golden State, next team I want to talk about. They're slacking because they're one of the most talented teams of basketball.
They are.
And they cannot have bad runs like they did the end of the month last month.
No, they cannot.
They also need to stay healthy. I wouldn't do anything to their rotation. I'd let this rotation play out in the playoffs because they didn't lose anything. They added Andre Iguodala. I know Jarrett Jack was a good player, but I like the rotation as is.
Iguodala is definitely an upgrade in whatever Jarrett Jack brought to that team.
Yep, I agree.
And another thing, though, is they've finally 100% bought into Mark Jackson's defensive philosophy, which is...
It's a good sign.
Yeah. And which is like help on all, help, and play man-to-man, basically, principle.
Yeah, and that's a very good sign. The next team I want to talk about is the Phoenix Suns. Now, in my NBA preview, I had them as the last team in the Western Conference.
You did.
Now, this is total media radio show host not admitting he was wrong. I wasn't wrong, but I was wrong. And here's why.
I wasn't wrong, but I was wrong.
Here's why.
I'm going to use that next time.
Because I didn't think they'd actually try to make a push. I really thought they were in tank mode. I really thought they weren't going to try to make the push.
Okay, so guys out there in podcast land,
I misread
it's okay because Sean thought they were in tank mode. Had they not been in tank mode, the genius that he is would have picked them 6th.
I would have put them at like the 9 or 10 spot, to be fair.
Hey, I was trying to help you out there.
I know. I know I was wrong, but I was right about a couple things. I've loved Goran Dragic since the day he stepped foot on NBA.
Oh, Goran Dragic.
He used to be Steve Nash's backup. Now he's really good. Miles Plumlee is one of my favorite basketball players of all time, and he made the jump this year. He's really good.
You know, the Plumlees, I don't know where the other one is right now.
Brooklyn.
He's in Brooklyn. He's doing well, right?
Oh, yeah, he's doing really
I was going to say, those guys are just paving the way for the younger brother. All three Plumlees are going to be really good in the NBA.
Marshall's not very good. But
he'll develop.
I like Phoenix a lot. I think they're set. Houston, Harden is as good as advertised. I'm not sold on the point guard play from Beverly.
They need more consistency from Dwight Howard.
Yes, they do. And I like Terrence Jones. He has nice upside. They got to trade Omer Sheik quickly. The Clippers, I wrote, get CP3 healthy. He's healthy. He came back last night, and
did he look 100% healthy last night?
Not 100%, but he only played 20 minutes because it was such a blowout, so it was tough to tell.
Do you allow him, and when I say allow, as a Clipper organization, do you quote-unquote allow him to start the All-Star game?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean,
absolutely. It's Chris Paul. You let him do whatever he wants.
So but I'm saying he's healthy enough where you're not worried about him like retweaking anything.
Not worried about anything. They're going to contend with CP3. I just have written here, sing praise for JJ Redick. JJ Redick is my third favorite player of all time behind Kyrie and Steve Nash. I love JJ. He's awesome.
And if you can't tell, 2 out of 3 of those guys have one thing in common.
Duke.
They are Dukies.
Steve Nash would have went to Duke. They would have recruited him.
Had he not been Canadian and go to Santa Clara.
Blake Griffin is really good. I was down on him, but he's really good.
I haven't watched a lot of Clipper games. I know you have the NBA package or whatever, or League Pass? Is that called League Pass? Has he finally developed a 16-footer?
Yeah.
He has?
DK, he's a terrific player.
Oh, okay, cool.
He made the jump.
He made the jump. All right.
And I was not a big Blake Griffin fan. Next team's Portland. I was wrong about them because I didn't think they'd stay healthy, but I did say that I loved their rotation. I love their rotation. Damian Lillard quickly becoming just a fan favorite. You'll see him a lot All-Star Weekend. He'll be doing every event in All-Star Weekend.
LaMarcus Aldridge is another one of those guys. This year, I feel like he's turned that corner to the point of where he can be give me the ball, there's 10 seconds left, let me put my back to the basket, take him down and hit the jumper as game expires.
Yeah, he's a leader and he's taking the jump. I love him. Mo Williams and CJ McCollum are really good backups. They need to trade Myers Leonard and try and get a veteran 5 to back up Robin Lopez. That would help. They're one of the teams that I think that can contend, the Clippers, and then the Spurs can also contend. Healthy Spurs will contend. They have to get healthy.
Yeah, but that's been their MO for the last 5 years. Because I feel like that's where they've been kind of quote-unquote old always, but they've been quote-unquote really, really old the last 5 years.
Yeah. And I think those 3 can really contend, but I think arguably the favorite right now is OKC. We talked about this a little on Aggie Talk. But
We did.
This is my problem with OKC. Kendrick Perkins can't be your center. And I like Steven Adams, but he can't be your center either. You need a
you were saying that.
Center. You cannot go up against Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. You cannot go up against LaMarcus Aldridge and Robin Lopez. You cannot go up against Tim Duncan and Boris Diaw with Kendrick Perkins. I'm sorry. You can't do it. I love Serge Ibaka. I think he's a really good third player. But Kendrick Perkins doesn't do it for me. And Durant is special. He's quickly rising the list of not best players in the NBA. Best players all time in the NBA. He's getting on that list.
You know what? Once again, like the East, if Houston and Oklahoma City were not in the same conferences, I would suggest to Oklahoma City, and I know this is going to not be a very popular thing to say, but I would trade Russell Westbrook in some sort of package to Houston for Omar Sheik. And then you have the big guy in the middle,
it's not enough.
And then you have KD basically running rampant like he's done with Russell Westbrook injured. And I mean, it's not enough, but it's a start for now. You know what I mean?
You know what OKC should do?
What's up?
Trade 5 players for James Harden. Try and get him back.
Or was it 4 years ago? 3 years ago?
When?
That he left for Houston?
That was last year.
No, was it? Was it 2 years ago? Has it only been 2 years?
Last year was the first year he played for Houston.
So this year, kind of like this, it's only been 2 seasons?
Yeah.
Wow, it seems like such a long time ago that they traded him.
I
would have just paid him money.
And if they had James Harden still, they would be the favorite in the West without a doubt.
Oh, they would. I feel like they would have, at least 4 or 5 more wins.
Right now, my favorite in the West is San Antonio, just because when they're healthy, they're the Spurs.
I agree. It's a championship pedigree. You can't really question that until they prove that they're not the Spurs.
Yeah. So that's my midseason report. We'll do a little All-Star recap next Monday, as the All-Star Weekend is this upcoming weekend,
Exactly.
Which should be fun in New Orleans.
Yeah, and you know what? For everyone out there, I love the dunk contest, and I love 3-point shootout, and I love all the festivities for that whole weekend produces. I'm really curious, though, how the team dunk competition is going to go.
It's gonna be fun.
Because dunking's like the ultimate individualistic thing. I don't know how that
We'll
works.
see. We will see.
Anyway, we will see. And once again, thank you for joining us here in the basement at KDVS Studios in
We
Studio
love you.
A. As for my partner in crime, the criminal over there, Sean Steimel, I am David D.K. Kim. They call me the Heckler, but not the over-the-top Heckler.
Nope.
I'm not Jeff Orr.
The smart one.
I am the smart Heckler. I am David D.K. Kim. Anyway, we'll see you next week on Monday when we return to the basement to give you some more sports chatter. So once again, for Sean Steimel, I am David D.K. Kim. We'll see you later. Bye,
YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
It was good. It was real.
Where is the last one I'm looking for?
Alright, I gotta go.
Okay.
My thing just went off, so
Oh, no worries.
I gotta run over to parking garage. Hopefully I'm not getting a ticket.
All right.
See. Good show. I can't do Aggie Talk tomorrow night, so I will see you next week.
Next week? Okay.
Yeah, but
Later.
I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you before then. See ya.
See you next week, YouTube land.